Hello. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about a topic that I don't really like talking about, but I know it's a lot of people's questions. So, what's your favorite curriculum? What's my favorite curriculum? Like I said, I don't really like the box sets, but I do love a lot of things, right? I love curriculum. I was really blessed this last month, no, in February, I got to work in a homeschool booth, and okay, I'm gonna have to write so many notes during this thing. So the booth I worked at was the Hepner's Homeschool, and they are out of Minnesota. They're wonderful. I'm gonna get you their phone number and website and stuff because it was so awesome spending this time with Nancy, who they bought this homeschool bookstore. They bought this homeschool bookstore from the Hepners, so these aren't the Hepners that own anymore. But I went up there to speak for the weekend at the homeschool convention, and I was actually speaking about being a homeschool entrepreneur, which I talked about in another video. That was my topic for the weekend, but I had all this time, and so I was seeing if anybody needed help in their booth. Well, this family needed help with their booth, and it was such a perfect fit. Like, it was amazing. We were in there, and I mean, I've spent a lot of time in her booth, and it was funny. I told her, I'm like, I've sold a ton of your books before, and so it was a good fit for me because I would go in that booth and I'd tell people, oh, get this, and so it was a perfect job for me. And then as we hung out, our philosophies were just so similar, and she started out talking to someone and saying, okay, write down your 10 things that are most important to you about homeschooling and what you want your kids to come away with. And I was like, that's what I'm starting my whole speech on, how I'm starting my speech. And that's how we were very aligned. And she loves to give you homeschool encouragement. So if you call her, she will tell you what curriculum to buy. I'm not joking. She's amazing. If you can go to her store, you really want to. She travels all over to homeschool conventions, but when they're not traveling, they're in there, and she's amazing. Okay. So, these are the things that I've loved over the years. We've tried a lot of different things. We've tried a lot of math programs. I'm not going to tell you which one to do because I don't have one that I super love. I think right now one of my kids is doing a Christian Light thing. We're kind of in two different houses right now. We have stuff everywhere. So I have a child that's doing this one right now that I like, but I don't know. Don't talk to me. I mean, math is not one that you want to ask me about. We've done Math UC. We liked it some. I know friends that do Right Start Math and love it, but it's highly hands-on. You're doing a lot of stuff with your kids, and I don't have that much time to sit one-on-one with a child and do that every day. Like, that was too much for me. We're doing some Singapore math workbooks right now that we're liking. It's my first time. Nancy from the Hepners I was telling you about, she told me about this curriculum, and we started doing it with my younger kids. I like it. We've done teaching textbooks. I think we'll go back to that for my high school kids. We've used Just Khan Academy, KHAN.org, I believe. I love that. So we've used that as a math supplement. I was using it just as a math curriculum for a while. I know there's so many math curriculums out there, and we've tried a little bit of them all. So I don't know if you have a specific question about one, I might be able to answer it, but I don't have one that I'm like, oh, this is the one you have to have. Okay, I don't. We talked about spelling. I started out my kids with that All About Spelling. I love it. It just makes things click. But we didn't go through the whole thing. We did a couple until it totally clicked. And then spelling was one of those things that I just bought workbooks on Amazon for. And it was one of the things that I could just say, please get that done, and I didn't have to be there helping them. And I needed a couple things in my life that were like that. Honestly, more to keep a kid busy than anything. Okay, so we've done it that way. There's a homeschool family that I really love, and they say they never taught their kids spelling. That was never a subject that they went over, and their kids have all gone on to write books. And they're like, some kids just get it and some kids don't. And I've heard other people say that same thing, that it's just, I'm not a good speller. Like, I'm really not. And I don't know. I still ask my husband dumb spelling error questions, that I'm like, but I like spell check. Helps me a lot. So there's a lot of different thoughts on spelling. but that All About Spelling is great. They also have it All About Reading, and I've used that some too. I like more of just the books from them. I haven't done all the projects because it tends to be just a lot of busy work, and we're busy. I don't need busy work. A thing that I really love from Abeka, they sell this blue book, and I'm gonna put some stuff in notes for you guys. But Abeka has this reading primer thing, and it's basically like lists of words that are all similar, and you race through them and you try and get your word count up. So this is back to our games and education, right? We have loved it. We sit there and we'll race each other, and we'll get, harder levels, and it tells you how many words you're reading. It's like, it'll help you figure out like what grade level you're reading at. So the kids love to just get better and better and race themselves. So let's see what Jennifer says. Yeah, Father's World, My Father's World. And I talked about that in an earlier video, that I did like some of their stuff, and we sing their ABCs song the way they sing it. I love it. That's my favorite thing that we got from My Father's World. But we use a lot of book curriculums just to get their book lists. So My Father's World's one of those. Ambleside Online is a free Charlotte Mason program, and we've got a lot of book lists from that. We would just print those off. I'd take it to the library, and that's what we would check out. I just wanted to tell me what to read, and we will read it, So we've used that. We've used Sunlight. We've never completed a full curriculum from Sunlight, but we've used mass amounts of their books, and we find them at book sales all the time. We did buy their American history book, and we love it. And we love the textbooks that come with that. It's, I think, a middle school curriculum, but it's fantastic from Sunlight. Okay, so the Abeka primer. Abeka also has this other tool that we really like, and they're like a test prep book. You just read one page of it's science. I think most of them are science, or they're not all science. They're historical, but for us, I love them because they're creation based, and they're teaching these really cool facts. And then it's the reading assessment. No, it's not, reading comprehension. They're these little reading comprehension books, and we love them. My kids have loved them. And that's, again, I like to teach the test taking skills. So that reading comprehension, and just, being able to read those questions and figure out how they try and trick you sometimes. I think it's a good skill to have. So that is a tool that we've really liked. For science, we've done a lot of just nature books. We're really outdoorsy people, so we like, tracking. I had one son that learned about trapping. He memorized a ginormous book about it. I'm telling you, that kid is pretty easy to educate in some ways, because I can hand him a book and he just knows it, and that's super awesome. But then we have some other battles that we're working on that we've chatted in some other videos about. And we've done Apologia Science, and we've liked that for my kids, but my kids, none of us like busy work, so we did not like their notebooks. There was a lot of, we felt like, we're not going to do the word searches, we're not going to do the word finds. That kind of stuff just seems redundant, and if they've got it, they've got it. So we've done that. My older daughter did an Apologia class with a homeschool group. That was really awesome for her. It was really nice. One mom took like 6 kids, all at the same age group, a couple of years apart, and went through the Apologia biology for high schoolers. If you can do that, or if you can find someone who will do that, I highly recommend it. It was awesome. And she got to hang out with her friends and have that special time. It was really good. So we love the Apologia. We just got another book that I think is right here also. We got this at convention, Exploring the World of Physics, From Simple Machines to Nuclear Energy. And I wish that my friend was here to tell you right now, but this is one that I'm having Elijah read through, and it's because, like, for him, he can just read it and get it, so this book is really good. He's wanting to get into harder science, and it kind of moves through these, like, heat, I don't know, it has a lot of cool stuff, but I didn't really have to do a lot with him, right? That's kind of, when you have a lot of kids, you kind of gotta figure that stuff out, what you do alone and what you do together, and we'll make another video about that. But I've loved Apologia Science very much. History, we did story of the world, and we do a lot of readers. So like we just read a lot, and that's a lot where our history comes from, I would say, is more just like a historical fiction, probably most of our history. We really liked Story of the World, and it's great. You can do it on CD. I usually have them color. You can read a lot of books, and then we'll talk about that right now. Reading, you can just learn so much amazing stuff from reading, right? These books that they just soak it in, they see the time period and it all makes sense, and they feel it, you can almost smell it, like they describe it so well, right? And it just clicks, and they love it, and they're passionate about it, and they care about what happens to this person, and they're learning historical facts at the same time. So we spend a lot of time doing read alouds. Now, our rule is you can't read or write during that time, but you can do anything else that's not too loud and obnoxious for me. So Legos get a little loud sometimes, gotta work on that, but there's a lot of drawing, knitting, sewing. I love these. There's these blocks from Handwriting Without Tears. They make these cool blocks. My kids loved doing pattern blocks. I love pattern blocks. So we would do those, and the kids could do all those kinds of things. Play with cars, paint, whatever. Have them sit at the table, put paper all over the table and decorate the whole paper, tape it on the wall. It's amazing when you just change things a little bit, how it can go so much easier. Like giving your kids dry erase markers and having them do math on the window. It just makes it so much cooler, right? Or draw a person on the window. Draw a bunch of circles. Have your little kids make funny faces on them while you read to them. You can really get in a lot of teaching that way. Okay, so let's see, we talked about science, history. I was thinking what else we super love. I love curriculum. I just love to, I get it. We try it out. I don't finish a lot of books, really. And I don't think you have to, I really don't. Like, if it's not working, do something new. Don't get stuck on this thing because you bought it, right? If the kids are crying every time and you hate it, like if you hate it, it's not going to go well. Your passion, your interest is really one of the best motivators you can have for your kids. So, you go outside with them and you're like, oh, look at this, look at this cool bug. And your kids come running, right? And I was like, what is this? And then you bust out the book and it's like, let's try and figure out what it is. That goes such a long ways, and the same is true with history. Like, go on field trips to old forts, or, take a historical tour of your city and be interested. Like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that, whatever. Go to museums, try and guess what things are in a museum, before the docent tells you what it is. There's so much that you can learn. And your excitement, just like we talked about before with the discipline, the bad attitudes spread, but the good attitudes spread too. So if you're excited and you're curious, that really is amazing. And if you struggle in an area, find a mom or dad, or find someone else that doesn't struggle in it. If you hate something, a lot of times our spouses really are the opposite for us, right? So for me, my husband can still tell you exactly how a cell works, and I'm like, what? I don't even remember any of those words. But he knows all the science, and so there's our science teacher. I don't have to know everything, and there's such freedom in that, moms, parents, teachers here. You do not have to know everything, right? Like, none of us ever are. We just have to learn how to get the information, and that's life, right? Like, we want to teach our kids how to go out and get the information, and what websites are credible and which ones that might not be true. You might want to double check that, and finding book lists and talking to the librarian and asking the questions, and those skills are so fantastic for our kids. One thing I always send people to, talking about homeschooling curriculums. You can homeschool for free. There's Easy Peasy homeschool.com, I think, has a full curriculum on there. It's amazing what this woman has come up with. I knew a lady that used to homeschool when it was still illegal in North Dakota, and she homeschooled with just the library. Okay, and she has her son went to college, became a music teacher, I think, and is a teacher, and she homeschooled with just the library. you do not need to have $1,000,000 to homeschool. And yeah, the fun curriculum makes things maybe easier sometimes or whatever, but you can do a lot with very little. One friend of mine, she knows a family that she met when she was living in Alaska. And these guys lived in the bush. I mean, it was a husband and wife and their 2 sons, and they lived in the bush, way out, right? And all that dad did was read classics to his kids. That was their entire school, was reading these classic books. And they came back, their kids were like 12 or something, 12 to 14, I think, when they came back and just moved into a small town in Alaska. And the mom said, well, do you think the boys can write? Like, we've taught them to read, but what about writing? And he said, I don't know, boys, write. And they wrote just like these books. You know, they had that beautiful imagery, and they had learned these things from those books alone. Now, both of those boys went on to become, one's a doctor and one's a lawyer. Like, they figured it out. They went to top schools, you know? And there's so many stories like that really encourages me in just following your passions and helping your kids. Kids are curious. Like, no one had to teach your child how to walk, right? They just want to learn how to walk. They see other people doing it, and they keep trying, and they don't give up. And the same thing's true with reading. I've heard over and over these stories of people, like, I hear my family is home. Sorry. Over and over, these people that learned how to read just by sitting on people's laps and reading the books along with them. They didn't do all the phonics training. They didn't do massive amounts of worksheets, you know. And I'm not saying phonics is bad. Like, there's a time and a place. But you don't have to have all the stuff. You don't have to have all the curriculum. Ron Paul also has a free curriculum for younger kids, and then there's a paid thing for older kids. So if we're talking about free. Another good, I've got a crying baby, I can hear. Another great homeschool website for you when you're looking at curriculum is kathyduffy.com, I believe. I'm sure Jennifer will find that out for us. She's awesome like that. But and it's going to be in your notes also. So, but she does a curriculum review, and you can go on her website and see everything reviewed really, really, really well. She has great stuff. Okay, so that's what I was saying. The things that going back. A website that I would buy everything that they sell if I had $1,000,000 and whatever is timberdoodle.com. So that they have pieced together curriculum sets. So I have never bought a curriculum set because I don't want all the same exact levels probably that they're giving me. But though they have I'm forgetting the name of it. They use things that I like. A lot of things that I've recommended here are things that they recommend. And then they also have really cool games and toys and a lot of the thinking skills, critical thinking skills. That's what I'm looking for. They share that. So timberdoodle.com they're a homeschool family that runs this homeschool curriculum thing also. But the Hepners have great stuff too, so I'll give you that. I want to make sure that I'm going to move. Hit this bed here. I had a list here. Yeah, kathyduffyreviews.com. And then that Easy Peasy Homeschool, all free. Yeah. But I want to share one more story with you that has helped me grow my confidence in homeschooling and kind of how we have done things. But my husband, he did not do so great in high school. I'm telling you, like, kid was like a straight A student, and then in high school did nothing, right? And so his grade point average was like a 1.8 or something. I don't even know. It was crazy. And I asked him, I'm like, how do you even graduate with a 1.8? And he's like, well, you do nothing. Okay, I see. Check. You did that. But then he, went out into the real world and worked a bunch of jobs and did different things. And then when we were pregnant with our first, he was like, oh my gosh, I need a career. Like, he was so focused, like he had to take care of this baby. And I was going to stay home because when we met, we were working with at-risk teens. It was a job I totally loved, but most of those kids were there because their parents were at work all the time. And that is a thing that has shaped a lot of why we do what we do. But So I decided I was going to come home with my baby. I was going to be there for her, and he wanted to support our family. So he went back to school, and he wanted to be a commercial pilot. That was his goal. That's what he always wanted to be since he was a little boy. So he started school, and he had to take like remedial math. I mean, he started out like learning fractions, right? But he at that time wanted to learn, and he mastered that so quickly, right? And he moved through. I mean, he went on to do calculus. He did crazy stuff in school that I can't even imagine, and he graduated with a 3.8 GPA. Okay, so from university. So that just helps me feel like, gives me peace. Everybody's going to have gaps in their education, right? No matter what. No matter what school they went to, you can't learn everything in the world, right? In 12 years or in this short amount of time, right? Have a really thorough, deep knowledge of everything. You're going to hear a lot of stuff, and some things are going to really stick with you because the teacher was probably really excited or they taught it in a way that really resonated with you. But a lot of stuff we kind of just flush out, dump after we take the test. And but the things that we're passionate about, they really sink in. We know them, we remember them, and those are the things that shape us usually the most. And not shape, that's not what I want to say, but those are the things that we end up using the most in our future. So I love to share that story because I feel like sometimes we get stressed out that we're going to shortchange our kids somewhere. We're not going to teach them everything, or they're, whatever, the stupid stuff, right? But when your child has a vision and they have a goal, they're going to do what it takes to make it happen, right? And if we can just teach our kids to have a good work ethic and to love learning, and if we can teach them to be good people, and just to be kind and considerate and to show up to work on time, they're going to be so far ahead of the rest of the world, right? So I say, check out those books I talked about, the homeschool, high school thing, because it's really going to help your kids take ownership of their own education when you're at that stage. And I hope you guys can just relax. Like, the studies have said that kids before like 6th grade, it's like almost nothing of that you ever even remember, right? So we're really just exposing them to lots of things at these young years. And then as they get older, we're building more of a foundation. No, that's the foundation, right? This exposure, but we're building, we're building on what they've already learned before. And then they have a general knowledge of things, right? And then they can hyper focus as they start getting older and more directed in what they want to learn. So I hope that helps. Put your questions down below. I'm going to be in the group, I'm going to be on there a lot helping you guys out. Thank you to those who have been donated already. I'm so excited. It's such a blessing to me. Thank you. And I have more classes to come, but my family's here now, so I might wait till tomorrow. I'm not sure about that yet. We'll see how it goes. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you again soon.